This is the Spyder IDE. Spyder IDE comes along with the Anaconda distribution for Python. So in case if you have installed Python 3.5 from Anaconda's distribution, Spyder would already be installed in your system. But in case if you have used Python 3.5 from python.org and you have installed all the separate modules using the pip command, you would need to use the same command to install Spyder separately onto your system. So this is Python 3.5. Let's have a quick visual tour of the entire IDE. It's very similar to probably any of the popular IDEs you have used for any other programming language. So towards the left, we have the Project Explorer. Project Explorer comes in handy when you have several Python files hierarchically organized under a folder structure. So navigation between the files, organizing files into different directories, packages becomes very easy with the visual tool for Project Explorer. In the center, we have the code editor. So a majority of the coding you do actually comes into this window. You can create 7 new tabs over here, and you can switch between tabs. I can write most of the codes into these commands, into this space. You can also write the codes and commands into the Python console. So towards the right bottom, we have the console. Now Python being an interpreted language, it gives you the freedom of directly firing in the codes or commands into the console. So let's write a simple program. I'll say hello world, probably the first command you'll fire in any language using a print command. You can see the output comes in directly into the console. Now we could actually write most of the codes in the code editor rather than using the console, so that you can actually have a visual inspection of the codes while we are executing them. On the top right, we have 3 tabs. We have the Variable Explorer, we have the File Explorer, and we have the Help tab. Variable Explorer comes in as a handy visual tool to examine what values do we have in different variables. So in cases of debugging, in cases of scenarios we want to see what values are stored inside a variable, rather than using the console in a dirty way, you can actually use this intuitive variable exposure visual tool to examine the values in different variables. The File Explorer comes in handy when you export or import files from the project directory into Python, in scenarios where we're reading data from a CSV file and then doing some analysis and exporting some plots as images or intermediate outputs as CSVs. All those files can actually be explored visually using the File Explorer. And finally, the Help tab. You can find a couple of handy help commands as and when required. We'll explore the Help tab as and when required. Let's get started with the data types. We'll now practically see what different data types has Python to offer. We'll look into basic ones and then little advanced ones with a couple of examples.